Welcome to another edition of Your Impact Attack. That's right, it's Your Impact Attack. And we're just holding on to it for you. Who's we? I'm Jamie the Vet Williams. With me, as always, my tag team partner, Brandon. And I go for the tag, and the tag is made. House of Fire. Brandon coming in, cleaning house. Yeah, the crowd goes wild. What's going on, Brandon?
Not a whole lot, man. How you been?
Ah, shit. Well, like we could see it based on your little lower third there. Where the fuck is Moose? That's how I am. Um, yeah, I just yeah, a little tired. It's starting to get hot around here. I don't like this. It's like 74 degrees. Ugh, it's basically tropical. I can't stand this. Where's all the wind and rain and cold? Hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
But regardless, we're like the mailman, rain, sleet, snow, or 74 and sunny. We're here to deliver your impact attack back to you because you keep giving it to us, even though it's yours. So what's going on in the world? Anything new and interesting happening?
Oh man, not much trying to think of what's going on in wrestling. I mean, we just had WrestleMania, but we already talked about that. Of course, the nothing new coming out of the sale to Endeavor.
No, we're not going to hear anything concrete for a little while.
But notice how quickly all the talks about the NDA and the sexual misconduct got swept under the rug real quick, or forgotten about, I should say.
I feel like someone should remind everybody. I mean, come on. I said it earlier as I appeared in the Monday locker room. You got whoever was trying to oust the king, like you can't do it half-assed. You can't be half pregnant, even if you're Kelly. You gotta get rid of. You got to get rid of them. You got to use all the ammunition. Don't leave any ammunition in the weapons,
If you got some dirt, get the dirt.
Mm-hmm. That's right. We're talking about some PCO in the desert dirt. Carry that dirt back to the ring in your mouth. Kind of dirt. You ever seen Pootie Tang? Like Dirty D? Like that kind of dirt.
Man, I've seen I think I might have seen it only once, like 20 years ago.
Oh man, everybody, Pootie Tang, please. Run out to your local, I don't know what people do these days. Just get it. Just watch it. Dirty D. Yeah, basically that's with the Endeavor thing, there's going to be like very little right now, and no one's going to really know what's going on, and it's going to be like anytime there's any morsel of information, people are going to jump all over that and report on it for, and try to extrapolate what they can from that little piece of information. There's going to be a lot of rampant speculation. Anytime anything happens, it's going to be like, oh, this is all because of, such and such. Just like today, if like the talent's having trouble getting to Raw, so this is all because this is Vince's fault. These rewrites are happening because Vince. And they might be. But
and you're going to keep getting these people making these reports and milking these for all they're worth because there's always going to be a demand for it. And as long as there's a demand for it, there's going to be people there to try to milk it.
Right. And Liz says something too. She says, I'll continue to say I don't understand how there were no sanctions even though he's paying the money back. It's still financial misconduct. Right. Yeah, when you get caught shoplifting or whatever, and you say, "Oh no, I'll just pay for it." Yeah, they don't really. It's a little late at that point.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, it don't matter. The crime has been committed. You must be punished for your crimes. I mean, some would say that living with that mustache is a punishment worse than death. But he seems to want to do it, so I don't know. But anyway, yes, valued, treasured member of the Hameen Media Group chats, Lizbeth, and speaking of them, like, who else do we have with us this fine evening?
Who else we got tonight? We got HateBot, yeah, pal. We got G-Ball 3333, Lab Brat. We got Javi Uchida. We got Jerome Hall. We got Media M5, Al Robinson hanging out with us tonight. What's up, guys?
Man, heavy hitters all. Couldn't do it without you, even though we would. But we're happy that you're here with us to
Frank's
liven
Pickle
up the
Barrel Ass,
conversation.
yeah, pal.
Whoa, the rare evening Frank appearance. He's more of a morning appearing guy, but he's appearing here in the evening. So, hey, everybody's just jumping off this fine day. Unfortunately, what we have to offer you this night is a random episode of Impact. But even though, I don't know, even though it's not really like leading into anything, I felt like it was pretty. I enjoyed it, except for obvious lack of Moose. That's just, I mean, what are we even? There wasn't even a hint of Moose. Was Moose even mentioned? I guess they probably may have. Did they show him in Josh Alexander's 2 packages that he got, throughout the show? Or
Maybe about, yeah, I think that's about it.
yeah, that's unacceptable. Who knows what's going on with that? But yeah, speaking of that, well, let's just get right into it. We get a package about Josh Alexander to open this episode. So they put together this thing, and they're trying to inform us of the situation in case we weren't aware, about how he's torn his tricep and will have to relinquish the title, and that's going to be your main event tonight, is a man relinquishing a title. So there you go. They're getting you ready for that. So it's a package, but it's actually an important package for what we're doing.
Is it a total package?
Is it a total package? No. But is it important? Yes. I thought it was a fine package myself.
Oh,
but then we go... yeah, large package. Very, very, very fine. But it got the job done. So that's what she said. We're gonna open up with the Motor City Machine Guns versus Shane Haste and Bad Dude Tito of TMDK. I wrote down the usual because it's a Motor City Machine Guns match, and that's what you're gonna get. Crucifix jackknife combo pin on Shane Haste for the Guns to go over. And then they go through the curtain, and the Bullet Club of Ace and Bay is waiting. They have some words with each other, and then Alex Shelley's like, "Whoa, how about a Ultimate X match at Rebellion?" So it's like, yeah, like who would want that? It seems like a much more painful option than a regular championship match, but that was the psychology there.
I guess maybe because, what is that? The Ace and Bay are probably maybe 20 years younger than the Guns. Probably think they probably got at least from the psychology standpoint, they have a speed advantage on them.
The Guns have a speed advantage on these 2 young athletic guys?
Yeah. Oh wait, did I misinterpreted the question?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the it seems like when it just seems odd that, you just come through the curtain having a match, and then you've already got a, you start jawing back and forth with these guys, and then you just throw out like that you want to have a stipulation in your match randomly. It doesn't seem as Ben would say, plotty or predicated at all, does it?
Nah.
But yeah. So, but about the match, what'd you think? Did you see anything? This is another look at TMDK and Bad Dude Tito, who you've seen a lot less of than the Guns. If anything stood out to you about this, I like those guys. They're fine. I just don't care about the machine guns match. It's something I know I can tune out because I'm not going to see anything that I haven't seen 1,000 times and I'm already sick of. And from what I saw in this, it was more of the same. But perhaps I was putting on a sock or something and missed something. I don't know.
The one thing that I took away from this match is that usually what you don't see in these matches is a clearly defined line between protagonist and antagonist. With here, I think we got that. Like,
Right.
we knew who we're cheering for, we knew who we're booing.
That's right. We're booing the Motor City Machine Guns and hoping that they never come back. Yeah. So, yeah, you're right about that. I mean, one guy's name is Bad Dude Tito. I mean, he's tipping his hand whether he should boo him or not. So yeah, there you go. I guess their other portion of their faction is faring better in other places. Being like Zack Sabre Jr. defending the New Japan Pro Wrestling World Television title or whatever, and against Shota Umino this weekend, and some other stuff. And Jonah, I guess, in WWE being a completely different person. So
Tito Santana.
Ed Tito Santana, Chico Santana, Bad Dude Chico. Yeah. So anyway, there was that. And then we transition over into a.
Speaking of Tito Santana, it'd be a really great tag team.
The
Matador and the Model.
The Matador and the Model. I feel like they were a tag team once. I don't know why I think that. So yeah, backstage we have Kenny King, and he's basically telling Fat Eddie that he doesn't want to back him up anymore, which is a good choice because there's more food for you that way if you do it that way. This was the first of a few, backstage segments that we would see. No lights anywhere to be found.
Yeah.
And what did we say last week? We were discussing the possibility of ratio of lights to moose having a correlation. So like 0 lights, 0 moose. A little moose, maybe like 1 light. Like prominent moose, much lighting. I don't know. We'd have to go back and check the tapes on that. But it seems like there may be some accidental credence to what we were saying.
Or could go back to what I was saying too about Scott D'Amore being who was keeping the lights out, because this is his first show back.
Ah, yes, there's that. Well, and is a presence of Scott D'Amore, is he the one keeping moose out?
It's connected. You just
Is he
nailed
allergic to moose fur or something? Like, I don't know. This is not a real moose, Scott. You don't have to. You have to ban them all from the building.
I think we're about to get to that stage of where we're like Charlie from It's Always Sunny, where it's like at the cigarette and he's like,
I don't get that reference, but I'm sure everybody in the chat is rolling on the proverbial floor. But media is saying that Moose has many indie dates coming up. So I don't know. Is this a sign of things to come? So we don't know. Let's hope not. As Tommy Dreamer, once again, speaking of Scott D'Amore, he shoots his shot trying to get him on the team for Hardcore War. Appealing to his basic nature of, being wanting to be a center of attention of storylines and all this other stuff that we'll talk about later. I don't remember exactly how this resolved though. How did they get out of this? How did they get out of this scene? I just remember Tommy telling him all this stuff about wanting to be on the team, and then I don't remember what Scott said after that.
Ah, crap. something about not being a wrestler anymore. He's already got enough on his table with Impact.
Yeah. Same shit he said before.
Yep.
Which, if you didn't see it, that was on the clip show where they had like a panel and stuff, and they had Tommy Dreamer, Scott D'Amore on, and that's where Tommy Dreamer initially invited him. So here he's like re-inviting him, in case you didn't watch that. I think that's probably the reason that this happened, or just a way to get more Scott D'Amore on camera. We got to have them on camera, headset off, stressed out, whatever.
I still think the part when he came out to the ring and did the Canadian Destroyer, him throwing off the headset as it was on his head for the first time, that had to be a rib. Had to be a rib.
I can't imagine how it's not. So here's another quick rib. Trey Miguel joins commentary as Bailey and Gresham go at it for a third time. And they have, a chunk of their match until they go outside. The fight spills outside. They kind of have words with Trey each. And then he jumps up on the apron, jumps in, and like missile drop kicks both of them. So it's a no contest now. And that sets up what's coming a little bit later. Yeah, this was a new, just another. Liz says Gresham's going to explode. Yep, this is, we're on Gresham, heart failure watch here. The man is expanding, and he's sweating, and yeah, so this was, I don't know, what they kind of did some of the same stuff they'd already done in the other matches. Because this whole thing was never going anywhere. It was just to do this spot with Trey and Miguel. So, I don't know. What'd you make out of all this?
I mean, it was super predictable. As soon as I saw Trey get involved, it was three-way. That's the first thing that came to my head.
Well, it's like you're psychic or something. All right, so we find out that with the design, that step 7 is that no authority is above the design.
Isn't that usually like the first step in every cult?
Should be. Is it even a step? It should be like a rule or something. I don't know. And also, they tell Callahan that he has got to figure out what that means. It's like he's like, they say no authority is above the design. He's like, what does that mean? And they're like, I don't know, figure it out. Get out of here. That's basically how it goes.
What you think of me, bitch?
Yeah. So, then we get the authority directors. They make an elimination 3-way match between Trey, Mike, and John, just like you foresaw. And Dango makes it weird after, everything's kind of settled. So, so this was pretty funny.
It was kind of a funny joke.
Yeah. He's like, if you guys need any help, I got a lot of experience in 3-ways. I've been rolling around at the local Y doing some jiu-jitsu or whatever. Yeah. You gotta see Dango do it. But he's definitely taking his make it weird gimmick to its ultimate, potential here. Yeah. Anything else to add on this scene?
I thought it was. Everybody did their part well. It was just super basic and knew where we were going with it. We didn't really need this scene to get it set up. Could have just thrown in like a little thing by the announcers in the middle of a match.
All right. We get the debut of Jody Threat next. and versus Terra Rising. So there's a rib for you. During this, we get a picture-in-picture that shows that Santino is down backstage. So obviously, since this is wrestling, he's been attacked, probably with lead pipe or other some such wrestling object that you attack a wrestler with or a wrestling figure with. And but as for the match, this was the, like I said, the Jody Threat debut. We've seen packages that have been, leading into this.
My first impression, she was way bigger in person than she was in those vignettes.
Yeah, she's not a tiny. She's not a tiny lady.
I shouldn't say in person, but like,
right.
You see her
just not filmed as like a short movie, right?
Right, like, and you see her, all of her in one shot, in the whole shot.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So I was, but other than that, I was, I just was like, what was any of this? It seemed like she just did a bunch of stuff, but it looked like very weird. A lot of it looked very weird. Like her finisher that she called the F416. It's just like she picked her up and then they both just went spinning and hit the mat. I didn't even know what I was looking at. I was just like, what was that? What the hell was that? What was any of this? I don't get it. I need to see more. This wasn't enough. Sorry. So that's how I felt about that. What about you?
I mean, just kind of a showcase for Jody. I mean, she looked pretty vicious, but we already have a couple girl, at least one girl who fits that archetype with Masha, which that'd be the natural go-to.
You're right. We don't need a Jody Threat at all. Let's cut her loose. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see somebody's potential with a get over match. Some people don't even know how to have a get over match. You'd think it would be pretty self-explanatory or easy, but for some reason, some people really don't know how to do it. So, this was that. Doesn't know how to do it. Scott D'Amore checks on Santino. And this whole scene somehow out of that becomes a future six-man tag with, Dango and his best friend Joe Hendry. And Santino returning to the ring versus the Design. So it was just a matter of time, I guess.
And that just even shows you just how completely useless the Design as an act is. That they're warm-ups. And they should be like a calculating, violent cult getting over with vignettes and more creative booking and writing.
Yeah, how do you go from like, being one of the featured major acts, and it seems like they're cutting it out bit by bit. Every week it's like less and less TV time, less importance in the angles, even just something like this. It's just a it's almost just like a cursory appearance. Like, oh yeah, these guys are here. Well, shit, let's shoot them. Let's shoot this quick little thing with Sammy, Callahan. Yeah, I don't know. Is this our fault? Did we do this? Have we shit on the Design into the ground so that they realize that nobody... Are we influencing the show again?
Man, if we are, it's not in a good way, because as ridiculous as how they wrote Eric Young off was, they still could have built something new out of it and made something out of Cody Deaner, or maybe something out of Deaner, but they completely dropped the ball out of that and buried the group right out of the get-go.
Right. Well, Haybot says, is Deaner hurt? Is that why he doesn't manage thing now? I don't know. I don't know about that.
He's been involved in the ring, which has been one of the biggest mistakes they've made with this angle, is because if he's the leader, like this mystical, spiritual shaman or whatever, like, why is he being touched? He should be like above getting his hands dirty.
Well, he usually never at least comes out on the losing end of whatever they're doing. So, I mean, in that sense, yes. But mystical shaman, you know, probably you could make better choices too, even if you wanted to have a role like that. I don't know, man. Yeah, okay, fine. If this will help end this entire gimmick and thing, then yes, the design fucking sucks. It's always sucked, and it needs to get the hell off of television. How's that? Think they'll listen? Let's see.
Better bury deeper than PCO.
Mm-hmm. Tasha with Gia, no music underneath, interrupted by Giselle and friends. So obviously they're going towards a Tasha and Giselle program, which that's fine. Yeah, got nothing to add. Good stuff here. I like whenever, you know, they can get on the mic and go back and forth, because both these women can do that very well. They get their characters over. They know who they are pretty much. So I like that. But again, it's just one little thing in this show, and the show keeps moving along. Like, none of this stuff really lasts too long. I like that in the sense that, you know, if something's good, it leaves you wanting more. If something's bad, it doesn't stick around and take up time. But it also, I don't know. This is the difficulty when you're editing together a bunch of taped, you know, footage.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty decent. I do think that Giselle does need a little bit better production and material. It's like because, I mean, the way she plays it off is she knows her character, she knows who she is, but as far as like, the materials comes across as more like cheap, cheesy wrestling.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Well, Javi says, why isn't anyone in Impact investigating the recorded murder of Eric Young? I don't, you know, I just, maybe they're afraid of what they'll find, Javi. Maybe they're afraid of what they'll find, which is a murder. Well, his murder was, you know, his alleged murderer was walking free, and, you know, maybe his his punishment is, you know, reduction of TV time. Maybe that's the sentencing that they decided to hand out. I don't know. So I'll say, okay. Next we have the Bully Ray and the Good Hands versus Tommy Dreamer, Yuya Uemura, and Darren McCarty. Well, I guess everybody just wants to know, did Darren McCarty, like, what happened when the old hockey player got in the ring? And let me tell you, boy, it wasn't the greatest. It wasn't it definitely wasn't no Logan Paul or anything, or Pat McAfee or anything like that. But he sure did hit John Skyler with a stunner and went over. That happened.
No. Now the only thing he should have done was basically the hot tag, stand in the middle, and just basically stick his arm out, stick his elbow out, let the guys bump and feed, and then tag back out, let the workers get the finish.
Yeah. Well, it was almost like that. I mean,
They got
The
that part right.
the good hands were trying to live up to their name as this rickety old man basically stood there, and they flew around him like he lightly touched one of them on the back of the neck, and they just went soaring over the top rope. You know, it was like it was almost like the HBK and Hogan match for SummerSlam, except they were trying to make McCarty look good. But yeah. Oh, Hatebot doesn't even remember him. So.
Drizzling shizzies.
And, and so Bully, on his part, walked away from this unscathed as far as I can tell. I don't think he got touched by anybody in this match. I don't even know if he actually tagged into it now that I think about it. But I know that when they wanted him to get back in, he was just on the floor like, nah.
Yeah, if he planned it that way, he's smart.
Right. Haybot says, McCarty does a better Luthez press than Sasha Banks, though. Well, joke's on you. She doesn't do a Luthez press, so take that. But while Bully's refusing to get him a piece of this hockey legend, Kenny King runs out and just starts beating somebody up for some reason. And then Frankie Kazarian runs out to stop him from beating somebody up for some reason. And then Masha runs out. And then Killer Kelly runs out. And then, it's just a lot of run-ins. And of course it's tied into, the Tommy Dreamer versus Bully Ray hardcore war thing that they want to have at Rebellion, but
and at least
couldn't be any more ham-fisted.
But at least run-ins made sense because there are people who had storyline involvement.
Right. Well, it's just one of those things of like, oh, here's my team that I'm going to have, but they're not even, I don't even think they were that far in the story yet.
Oh, yeah, so why isn't Gujar involved in this? Because he was the guy who actually stood up to Bully for Dreamer.
That's a good question. I can only assume that either he wasn't there at this set of tapings or perhaps injured. Maybe a ladder fell on his face again, or perhaps he wasn't even at these tapings. I don't know. But yeah, what did Frankie have to do with any of this was that he's, Tommy Dreamer's friend, I guess. I don't know. And then Yuya Uemura's just there. He's like, hey, I'm here. I'm a guy that can fight guys.
I'm a warm body.
Right. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, get excited for that. Then they show Josh's package again. This is a family show, guys. Come on. Was this did they just rerun the same thing that they played at the beginning, or was this a slightly different?
That's a good question.
I felt like, yeah, it was similar at least, but I didn't really, as soon as I saw what they were doing, I just, I dragged the progress bar past it so I could, wrap this up. So I was like, okay, if that is the same, I'll just ask about it. I'll see if anybody else knows.
Yeah, but here's what really irked me was like he had those two packages, and that main event went like 15, 20 minutes of relinquishing a belt. You had no Moose, no Hendry, no Knockouts Tag Team Champions. Like, really?
Yes, this is again, this is the result of editing pre-recorded footage. Now, this was from the Windsor tapings, right, which took place, but we've already seen footage from that, including a match with Josh Alexander. So they obviously had that match took place probably before the filming of this main event segment, which we're not quite yet on. But you had Josh Alexander there. He got hurt at these tapings, presumably somehow, because you already showed a match from it, and another. Well, you showed another match from it too. Like this, that was they did the Killer Kelly versus Miyu, Miyu something. Forget, but yeah. So you already had some matches from that. And now maybe you're having to like move things around, and maybe your show's a little bit imbalanced as a result. We'll have to see what else comes out of the Windsor tapings in the next couple of weeks. But as of now, it's like, yeah, the way you cut this, it's like, where's this person? Where's that person? Were they there at all? Were some people not in Canada because they didn't want to go to Canada or couldn't go to Canada for whatever reason? You know, what's the deal? I'm not sure. So, anyway, yeah, package.
Yeah, border crossings and getting people over and customs and all that. It can be a mess and get tricky.
Right.
Laws, legalities.
It may not even be worth the payoff that you're supposed to get sometimes. So, that may explain that. Then Deanna does a promo. It's like a pre-taped, like pre-taped video of a promo of her talking to the camera. She's mixing her metaphors, is what I got out of this. But she doesn't really say anything major, just that she's going to be the Knockouts Women's Champion. I mean, is there anything else to add to that?
Not just some little bit of character development. Could have been shorter, but got the point across. Okay. And she played it well.
Mm-hmm. Promo is not Deanna's strong suit. Her voice is not strong. She's a very nice lady, but even if she's doing a good promo, she has just like a very nice sounding voice. So it's hard for her to menace. Not that she was trying to menace in this, but as a heel, like a lot of times you want that. You want to sound like a menacing. And it's hard for her high-pitched voice to sometimes get that across. But, I mean, this was all right. I'll tell you what's not all right. Fat Eddie versus PCO. This just happens. For all this stuff that we've had to watch with these guys, we're getting a standard, a standard rules match on just a TV episode. Just here you go. Hey, I know you guys have been going to war for a long, long time, so have a regular match. Here you go. This'll settle it. And we know that it won't, we know that it's not going to. Because they're probably going to have some match at Rebellion. I may or may not have looked at some stuff that said there's going to be a last rites match at Rebellion. So we're not even done with this. But yeah, this was another thing about it too. Like with all the history built in, and with what these two guys are known for, like PCO is just like a stunt. It's like PCO's like basically a stunt man, just taking bumps now, and Eddie is just like he's just degenerated into the I'm just gonna wear a t-shirt and have hardcore type matches sometimes, like he is turning into Tommy Dreamer, and like yeah, so and then they have a spot in the match where they like they expose each other's chests and they chop each other.
Jeez, are you jumping in the Ric Flair cosplay stage then? Gonna be Tommy Dreamer?
Yeah. Well, which part? The exposing yourself or the chopping?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. It's reminding me earlier of like when you forgot to mention too. It's like it really did look like Tommy Dreamer's cosplaying Dusty Rhodes. Like that was the first thing that came into my mind is like, dude, Dreamer, you should know how that looks on TV, man.
Right. Um, yeah, just and even that spot with the shirts, like PCO's like unbuttoning his shirt, and Eddie just has to stand there and watch him unbutton his shirt, like in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, why? Yeah, yeah. If it were a fight, you'd be ripping it off so you have access to his skin, so you can cause more pain to him.
Yeah, I definitely would be like, if I'm fighting somebody and I'm like, you want to go? You want to go? All right, well, go ahead and unbutton your shirt, then we'll go. I'm not doing it. You do it. You unbutton your own shirt. Let's go. And so yeah. But there was that, and then so Alicia comes out. She begs PCO not to squish her squishy husband, because he's up on the top rope, and he's just like, "Durr," and then she's like, "All right, fine," and then she hits him with Kenny, not Kenny King, but the kendo stick Kenny. And then, a series of moves, I guess. I forget what he did to PCO, but he hit him with a bunch of stuff, and then the Boston Knee Party and pinned him. And, I was like, well, the other Kenny, the King Kenny, when they were talking in the locker room, he did say, if you need backup, call whoever was driving that car.
Yep.
Is this that? Is this him admitting that it was her? I don't know. Because PCO chases them back through the curtain out to the parking lot where they peel out. So Lish is the getaway driver. She's baby driver. Hungry driver. Starving driver.
If you run over PCO, I'll give you a sandwich.
Well, I guess she ain't eating tonight. She drove the opposite direction of PCO this time. Yeah. Yeah. And everybody in chat is having a field day with all this stuff. Let's read some of it. PCO versus Eddie match is the new mascot of Impact. So long, stupid ass owl. From Hatebot. Labrat says, so Alicia helping Eddie. Does this mean he is feeding her now? If so, I'm happy for her to eat again. Yes, we all are, but we don't know that it means that, so don't get too happy yet. Javi says their next match will be for the rights to who gets the first crack at catering. Media says PSO looks like Kevin Kiley, Alex Riley on Years of Meth. That's not wrong. Liz says she was headed to the drive-thru. Yeah. Hey Boss says, for real, do we know who hit PCO with that car yet? I assumed that this is supposed to tell you that it was her. I mean, I don't know if they thought that was going to be some kind of big reveal. Like, oh my God, his wife is the one who picked him up in the middle of the fucking desert where nobody should have even known who he was. It was his wife all along. Like, big shock.
And if you think about it, too, that makes Kenny King like actually a pretty decent friend because he stood up, backed him up against PCO with, and he didn't even have to, and he had nothing to do with it.
Right. Definitely.
And then he turned around, and then Eddie turned around and shit on him. Yeah. Or abandoned him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, everybody gets what they deserve in the end. Hatebot also said, we know how you feel about kendo sticks in NXT. How do you feel about kendo sticks in Impact? Well, my rule about kendo sticks is the same. The difference is that, Fat Eddie, as stupid as it is, Fat Eddie does have a named kendo stick, and he brings it with him a lot of the time. So if the kendo stick is part of your, gimmick, I guess, then that's different. If you just lift up the ring skirt and find the kendo sticks under there next to the tools and the extra chairs and stuff like that, then I disavow your match and I don't have to talk about it. That's how the rule works. So any final thoughts on this saga that's probably apparently not over? I agree. So finally we get Bert and Kushida are in the ring with Scott D'Amore. And they call out Josh Alexander to the ring. He enters with his damn wife and kid because he just can't not put them in harm's way for any chance that he gets. He's going to bring them out and put them in the line of fire. He's not a good father. I don't appreciate this. But anyway, yeah. He gives his speech about, hey, I busted my, that whole thing. Hey, I did what literally everybody that gets into wrestling does, and now I'm hurt. So here's my belt. That's basically what he's saying. What else can you say? I'm downplaying it. It was fine. There's nothing wrong with any of this. And he even goes to hand the belt, and then his kid Jet grabs the belt, and that wasn't pre-planned at all. Like, we didn't have to. This kid totally knows what's going on at all times. This 4-year-old kid.
I will give them points over creativity. I've never seen that done before.
Yeah, I like the idea. So yeah, he grabs the belt and takes it, and then he has to no, Daddy needs a belt back. And then he hands the belt over, and then Macklin tries to get some heat. Oh shit! Sonic the Hedge Rat making an appearance. This is a HMG legend. We don't see him much anymore, but we always want to. So now that he's here, I have to let him know how much he's appreciated and missed. Yeah, so Burt Macklin tries to get some heat here in this spot, which is exactly what he should do, and exactly, the right move. However, the heat was scripted to go to Scott D'Amore, like it always fucking is in these type of situations. He's got to cut the emotional promo, and he's got to get potentially physically involved, and he's got to, he's got to take the spotlight and kind of make it all about, him, the center of attention. So it basically, and I also understand from the standpoint of, well, if Scott D'Amore's sitting out there and this were real and Macklin was trying to say the things that he was trying to say and do the things that he's trying to do, Scott D'Amore would look stupid if he just stood there and let him do it. Right, but at the same time, there could have been another way around this whole thing. I don't know.
You handle it like you're the boss, not like you're a worker cutting a promo.
Mm-hmm. Yep, which that's an issue, because even though he is the boss, he's still always out there as a worker trying to cut a promo. So anyway, it eventually turns into some fisticuffs with Kushida and, Macklin. And so at the end, Kushida gets the belt back, and right before he's about to hand it back to Scott D'Amore, he takes a second, poses with it, the crowd approves, and then he hands over the championship nice and neatly folded to Scott. And there you go. That's how we're off the air.
And that pretty much tipped the hand, because why are you going to do the beauty shot if you're not going over, or if you're going over?
Yeah. Well, probably because he's not. There's a case to be made that regardless of anything, they would have put Macklin over at Rebellion, even if he was healthy, even if Josh was healthy and ready to go. Like, that might have been the end of it for Macklin, and that could have been his moment. I think what they should have done, I guess the way they had things laid out, I guess what they should have done is that Macklin could have just crossed the line verbally. I mean, he didn't really do anything physically anyway, and he didn't seem like he was going to. But Scott just interrupted him and didn't let him finish anything he was trying to say. So that's what I mean when I said he was trying to get heat, but they planned all this to get, the shine for D'Amore instead. I don't even know how much heat he could have gotten because he didn't get to say everything. So, yeah. I didn't like that part of it. They kind of didn't serve everyone to the best of their abilities. Um, but hey, we got uh, we got a little bit of interest, to see what'll happen in the match. I think we could have done that a little bit better without Demore flying off the handle and turning into a wrestler, which he says he's not anymore. Oh no, I couldn't be. The humble and professional Scott Demore just could never be involved with anything to do with Tommy Dreamer, and on that aspect, I would agree with him. But still, it feels like he really just wants to be out there any chance that he gets in doing this. So I don't know. There you go.
Again, way too long. Like you don't need 15 to 20 minutes for a segment of this when you have no Moose on the show, you have no Joe Hendry on the show, who's your digital media champion. You don't have your women's tag team champions on your show. You don't even have who's the Knockouts champion right now. You didn't even. Oh yeah, Mickey. Oh yeah, Mickey. You didn't have her on. You didn't have her on the show. You didn't have Jordan on the show, who's in that title match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of business wasn't getting touched upon there. So perhaps questionable editing choices. I don't know. But yeah, it was. I don't know. It was subpar. And I feel like even though I mean the show moved along, but it just there wasn't a lot to get excited about. I couldn't go back and tell anybody, "Oh, you should have seen this. You should have been there." I can't recommend anything from the show. So, unfortunately, that's the case. And perhaps it's carried over to the Impact Attack. Perhaps we've had a low energy show. I certainly apologize on my behalf because, I can't be bothered to like try to make sense of this mess sometimes. And then even the wrestling part of it, it's like I'm not seeing anything different. This is just, like I said, Motor City Machine Guns. You've seen it once, you've seen it 1,000 times. It's hard to like really break things down and point things out. I should one day. One day I should watch a Motor City Machine Guns match, write down everything I don't like, and then we'll make this like a 2-hour show instead of like a 1 hour and some change show. but yeah, I mean, it's affecting, it's the quality of Impact is directly affecting our production as well. So at least we don't have any, lighting issues, or we certainly don't have any Scott D'Amore appearances. So, and how many times do we watch Gresham and Bailey? See, that's the one thing. It's like I could see if you're trying to build a rivalry, and you're doing a story where like these guys are, okay, who's gonna definitively come out on top? I don't have a problem with that. But some of this other stuff, I can't, but that's all right. I mean, we'll try again next week. Are you muted, Brandon? I couldn't hear you talking. I can't really hear Brandon right now, and it looks like Spectrum is taking over. So glad I don't have Spectrum, you guys. I've had very few internet issues the entire time I've been doing these shows. You have to admit. It's okay. So we may be having a mic issue here with Brandon. That's okay. We don't have much else to say really on this, so I can just kind of take it home for both of us, and get everybody to bed at a reasonable hour, so to speak. We talked about this shit enough. I didn't have my Prime energy drink. I still have the bottle. Anyway, you can find Brandon on his social media platforms as Miss Tia the Transarchist, and you can find him on Twitch um, at wait, it's Transarchist Tia is Twitter, and what else? Is Twitch the same thing? Not if it is, or type it in the chat what it is. Um, but yeah, definitely gonna get some World of Warcraft raids going. So Miss Tia Transarca, that's the Twitch one, and Transarchus Tia for Twitter. Okay, so yeah, I knew it was one of the two. I knew that there were two of the two in different places and whatever. Uh, I start to sound like uh, what Scott Steiner here trying to make sense of out of all this stuff. But at least I don't sound like Rick Steiner. As for me, you can find me at Opinion Haver on all your favorite social media platforms, all over Channel Attitude. You've got the Monday Locker Room, fresh off the presses with me and Ben Hameen, breaking down the WrestleMania main event booking with the news stories of the day. You've got Next Level Wrestling Review with Big Ray Hernandez every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. And of course, you got the Impact Attack every Monday. You guys already know where to find it. If not, if you're listening after the fact, you know, Mondays 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. If you want to join in the fun. And then of course you've got Wrestling with Rip Rogers every Friday, except live every Friday Q&A, except when they're not live, like they weren't live this past Friday. And you never know when I might pop in and join the fun there. And you know, follow Stevie Richards and everything Stevie's doing. He's got another video update on his channel about his condition. He's mostly off the cane. He's about to get the PICC line taken out. So he's just that he was there at the Mayo Clinic, I think, today. And so good things, Stevie, just moving along. He'll sell for anything, but he's not going to sell for this. So check him out. I guess that's going to do it. So thank you guys all for joining us. For Brandon, I'm the vet, and I don't have a sign-off line.